Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today we're diving into The Wise Men, 6 Friends and the World They Made. A compelling look at 6 extraordinary individuals: Averell Harriman, Robert Lovett, Dean Acheson, John J. McCloy, George F. Kennan, and Charles E. Bolin, and their profound impact on shaping American foreign policy in the tumultuous decades following World War II. These men, bound by intertwined lives from childhood and early careers, navigated a world transitioning from a European-centric order to a bipolar one dominated by the U.S. and the Soviet Union. Their story is not just about policy, it's about friendship, power, the burdens of privilege, and the very human drama of grappling with a world on the brink. Our journey begins at Groton, the elite New England prep school where Harriman and Acheson first crossed paths. Harriman, the son of railroad magnate E.H. Harriman, exuded a sense of sovereignty instilled by his upbringing in a world of immense wealth and privilege. Acheson, son of an Episcopal bishop, possessed a sharp wit and independence that often clashed with Groton's rigid environment. This initial encounter foreshadowed a lifelong dynamic, with Harriman often acting as a mentor figure to Acheson, guiding him through the intricacies of Soviet diplomacy and later the quagmire of Vietnam. Their connection, spanning over 6 decades, underscores the book's theme of enduring personal bonds influencing global decisions. Robert Lovett, another figure central to our story, entered the Harriman orbit through his father, a trusted associate of E.H. Harriman. Lovett and Harriman forged a lifelong bond, becoming classmates at Yale and later partners on Wall Street. Lovett, with his patrician demeanor and administrative brilliance, would become a key architect of America's strategic air power during World War II. His approach to leadership, characterized by discretion and a knack for consensus building, would become a hallmark of the post-war establishment. John J. McCloy, unlike Harriman and Lovett, hailed from humble beginnings. His mother, determined to elevate her son to the upper echelons of society, orchestrated his education and social connections. McCloy's journey exemplifies the meritocratic aspect of the American establishment, its capacity to absorb and cultivate talent. His legal acumen and remarkable ability to forge consensus would make him a trusted advisor to presidents and a key figure in shaping post-war Germany. The remaining 2 wise men, George F. Kennan and Charles E. Bolin, entered our narrative through a shared fascination with the Soviet Union. Kennan, an introspective and often insecure individual, harbored a deep skepticism towards the Soviets that solidified during his time in the Foreign Service. Bolin, Kennan's close friend and intellectual partner, possessed the social graces and diplomatic finesse that Kennan lacked. Together, they represented the intellectual core of America's early Cold War policy, with Kennan's long telegram and X article laying the foundation for the doctrine of containment. The interwar period saw Harriman and Lovett navigating the world of high finance, while McCloy and Acheson built their reputations as international lawyers. These experiences exposed them to the complexities of global economics and the growing importance of American involvement in international affairs. They were not isolationists. They understood the interconnectedness of global markets and the need for American leadership. This internationalist perspective would become a defining characteristic of their post-war policymaking. World War II thrust these 6 friends into positions of unprecedented influence. Harriman, as Roosevelt's special envoy to Churchill and Stalin, witnessed firsthand the shifting alliances and growing tensions between the U.S. and the USSR. Lovett, at the War Department, oversaw the massive expansion of America's air power. McCloy, also at the War Department, tackled a range of challenges, from overseeing the internment of Japanese Americans to grappling with the moral complexities of bombing Auschwitz. These wartime experiences shaped their views of the Soviet Union, solidified their commitment to internationalism, and prepared them for the challenges of the post-war world. The death of Franklin Roosevelt marked a turning point. Harry Truman, thrust into the presidency, inherited a world on the brink of a new kind of conflict. He relied heavily on the counsel of these 6 friends, who educated him on the Soviet threat, the importance of rebuilding Europe, and the implications of the atomic bomb. The months following Roosevelt's death saw a rapid deterioration of U.S.-Soviet relations, symbolized by disputes over Poland, the division of Germany, and the control of atomic weapons. The late 1940s witnessed the creation of the key doctrines and institutions that defined the early Cold War. Kennan's long telegram, advocating a policy of containment, resonated deeply within the Truman administration, providing a framework for understanding and responding to Soviet expansionism. Acheson, as Truman's Secretary of State, played a central role in articulating the Truman Doctrine and shaping the Marshall Plan. These initiatives committed the U.S. to a global role, pledging support to free peoples resisting communist aggression and providing massive economic aid to rebuild war-torn Europe. The Berlin blockade and the Korean War further solidified the Cold War divide. These crises tested the resolve of the U.S. and its allies, demonstrating the willingness of the Soviets to use force and the need for a strong Western alliance. The development of the hydrogen bomb added a new dimension to the arms race, escalating tensions and raising the specter of nuclear annihilation. The 1950s and 1960s saw the wise men navigating the shifting political landscape of the Cold War. They faced challenges from both the right, with McCarthyism and its red-baiting frenzy, and the left, with growing dissent over the Vietnam War. Acheson, in particular, became a target of McCarthy's attacks, his loyalty and integrity questioned despite his staunch anti-communism. These years also saw the emergence of new challenges, from the Suez Crisis to the Cuban Missile Crisis, testing the wisdom and resolve of the wise men. The Vietnam War marked a tragic turning point for the establishment. The wise men, initially supportive of American involvement, found themselves increasingly divided and disillusioned as the war dragged on. Harriman, a tireless advocate for a negotiated settlement, found himself increasingly at odds with Johnson and his hawkish advisors. Acheson, after initially supporting escalation, eventually concluded that the war was unwinnable and advocated disengagement. The March 1968 meeting of the wise men, dubbed the Last Supper, marked a dramatic shift, with several key figures, including Acheson, reversing their positions and advising Johnson to seek a negotiated peace. The final chapters of The Wise Men chronicle the twilight years of these 6 friends. They witnessed the unraveling of the Cold War consensus, the rise of a new generation of foreign policy professionals, and the growing challenges to American hegemony. They continued to offer their counsel to presidents, though their influence waned. They remained committed to public service, driven by a deep sense of duty and a belief in the importance of American leadership. The key takeaway from The Wise Men is that foreign policy is not simply the product of abstract doctrines or geopolitical forces. It is shaped by individuals, their experiences, their friendships, their flaws, and their very human struggles to make sense of a complex world. The book also offers several heuristics for understanding the challenges of leadership. Firm but friendly. Harriman's mantra captures the delicate balance required in dealing with adversaries. Firmness without friendliness can lead to unnecessary confrontation, while friendliness without firmness can be perceived as weakness. Don't fight the problem, decide it. Marshall's dictum emphasizes the importance of decisive action in times of crisis. Endless deliberation can be paralyzing. The only way you can make a man trustworthy is to trust him. Stimson's maxim, though ultimately naive in its application to the Soviets, highlights the importance of trust in building alliances. Containment. Kennan's doctrine, though often misinterpreted and misapplied, provided a framework for understanding and responding to Soviet expansionism. Situations of strength. Acheson's phrase underscores the importance of military and economic power in deterring aggression. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.